Take a look at the fear and greed index coming down to 19 out of 100, indicating extreme fear. It was all the way down to 18, which is the second lowest since the 2022 market bottom. Meanwhile, we also saw a spike in the VIX, the volatility index for the S&P 500, and people are calling out what looks like a perfect technical bottom. I'm going to explain why the market crash is not over. The sell-off is not over. Beware of this bounce that you're seeing in the S&P 500. Watch until the end of the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn post notifications on. Make sure to drop a comment down below what number like you are. First things first, we got PCE that came out, and markets, I guess, technically indicated it as a buy signal. But obviously, we were due for a little bit of a bounce, especially seeing that we were basically all the way on the end of extreme fear over on the fear and greed scale. Now, Berkshire Hathaway recently sold his S&P and his VU, and we made an entire video on that. It wasn't just him. Last week, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, sold his biggest chunk of stocks last week. I'm going to tell you right now, Berkshire Hathaway, the CEO of JP Morgan, they didn't sell for a 4% correction. They never have sold for a 4% correction. And this is a major, major warning signal. On top of that, just from a basic technical perspective, we saw volume increase on these sell-offs by a lot. How US mini stagflation and the yen could shock financial markets. This came out about an hour ago. In quotes, this setup above par inflation expectations in the US and UK combined with at par inflation expectations in the Euro area and Japan has major implications for relative central bank policy. Worryingly, though, it also shows the seeds for the next financial shock. Why so? Well, of the three economies, central banks, only the Bank of Japan is in a tightening cycle. With inflation expectations back at 2%, a zero interest rate policy is no longer fit for purpose. The Bank of Japan must rapidly normalize interest rates to its estimate of neutral at 1 to 2.5%. Bank of Japan chief warns of strong global uncertainty due to US tariffs, speaking amid mounting bets of near-term Bank of Japan rate hike. Now, in August 2024, the yen carry trade unwound sharply, causing major market volatility. The Bank of Japan raised interest rates, making yen borrowing more expensive, while weak US labor data fueled Fed rate cut expectations, leading to a stronger yen surge. Investors rushed to unwind carry positions, triggering yen appreciation, forcing traders to close positions. Nikkei's 225 biggest drop since 1987 in global stock sell-off, and tech stocks were hit hard as many were funded by yen carry trades as well. Now, if we come and we take a look at the Japanese 225 index, you can see it is hitting a massive sell-off right now. But look back in August of 2024, which is what we were just talking about. What happened here? We saw a massive carry trade unwind, and this is going to happen much, much worse. See, as of right now, they are doing their best to actually hold the banks up. While you were sleeping, the Bank of Japan has been extremely, extremely busy. We talked about the Bank of Japan losing $12.7 billion and fighting for that loss. It seems like margin calls were occurring, and that is why you're seeing this ugly, ugly sell-off over in Bitcoin. We saw the USD JPY jump higher as well as Bitcoin start to sell off. Now, we also need to continue to pay attention to the US 2-year bond yields as well as the 10-year. There are major market signals that indicate warnings across the board. On top of all of the market crash talk, we are seeing housing delinquencies are now higher than 2008. People are calling out that the crash, the real estate crash, has finally begun. Now, all of these events brewing together is never a good sign, and it doesn't stop there. We're seeing the cryptocurrency market obviously get liquidated. I saw about 300 million get liquidated within 15 minutes, with Bitcoin coming all the way down to 78,000. If anyone picked up at 78,000, drop a comment down below, because that is a very, very good price for Bitcoin in my opinion. But there could be a much, much lower price. I think this tinfoil is pretty interesting. What if Roaring Kitty's Time magazine post 109.420 was Bitcoin from 109 to 420? We peaked at 109 on Bitcoin. If we come back down to 42K, that would be absolutely insane. But it could happen amid a market crash, and this would be one of the craziest crashes in Bitcoin that we have seen if that is the case. That gives Bitcoin about a 60% drop from its peak. Now, Michael Saylor just said, sell a kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin, which we'll talk about MicroStrategy in a second. The SEC says meme coins are generally not securities under federal law, so that's interesting. They also just ended an investigation into Consensus, a parent company of MetaMask, also Coinbase as well. They dropped a lawsuit against. They are continuing to drop lawsuits. Now let's jump into AMC and GameStop, and I also have other stocks to talk about, but also Amazon just announced their quantum computing chip. Figured I'd throw that in the middle of the video. Now the SPY back in 2021, just for relativity, we saw while AMC and GameStop squoze, we saw a 4.5% drawdown, then a 5.6, then a 3.5, then a 4.5. Basically all in the beginning of the year, January, February, and March. And you're basically seeing a very, very similar thing happen right now, but the SPY is only down 4.8%. So could this be a technical bottom for the SPY? Maybe. Right? Maybe. If I zoom out and show you on the daily, on the macro scale, a little bit of a macro scale, I think the weekly chart would be okay too. You can see that this had to be the bottom for the SPY, because if we kept selling off, that would have broken a very, very strong trend on the SPY. You can see it held back here, and this is where the SPY needed to hold. We wicked down and spooked people out, and that's exactly why you run a trailing stop. Took some profits on some puts because we got kicked out for profits, okay? Now the SPY is at 587.70. However, I don't think the SPY is bullish until it's above 589.30 or 589.40. As of right now, I do still think this is bearish. This is a dead cat bounce. It's a relief bounce, and I think the market's going to sell off even more come next week. Now we are seeing GameStop on the weekly break below the midline on the Bollinger Bands. If GameStop decides that it needs to drop alongside the market and AMC decides that it needs to drop alongside the market, I'm going to tell you a couple of spots that this thing could get saved at and make a V-shaped recovery, like a Volkswagen squeeze or something like that. As of right now, the 200 EMA would be the next level that we're looking at, which is at $22 if we flush down, if the SPY crashes below where it's trading at right now. So between $22 and $20, at that point, that would be a good saving spot. After that, you're looking at between 16 and 18, so on and so on. Now, GameStop, from a technical perspective, just on the daily, is trading in this descending parallel channel after a big cup pattern. So we're in a huge cup and handle, and I would say we technically didn't get the breakout since we didn't actually break this high right here on this cup and handle pattern. But as of right now, I think it's a beautiful setup. You're trading on the top of the mid-channel line of this. And once we get a breakout, I would say a break above 28 is really when we start moving higher on GameStop. Now, GameStop recently posted this, GameStop's website in 2005. They just posted that today. We saw Ryan Cohen post on February 18th, email M&A@gamestop.com if you're interested in buying GameStop Canada or Micromania France, so on and so on. Did you know that GameStop actually did acquire something back in 2005? They acquired EB Games for $1.44 billion. Is this a merger? Is this an acquisition that is coming up with GameStop? Potentially. Now, before we get into AMC's chart, don't disregard Chewy, because I think this one's still on the table. We are in a rising wedge pattern and we are building momentum higher, up 2.5%. This one looks like it wants to be explosive very soon, so keep Chewy on your radar. AMC coming beneath 325, but it is holding up, now green on the day. As of right now, it's just a waiting game. I mean, we are simply in a waiting game for AMC as well as GameStop. I've shown you this pattern time and time again. I'll come over on the weekly time frame, logarithmic scale, and just show you why it's a waiting game. Just based on simple patterns, this is what AMC looks like right now. Okay, this is why it's a waiting game. So the same time period, we're very close to something, but we have to just wait on it. Again, they are trying to hold themselves up as much as possible. Now, this is a short squeeze play that was dropped in Discord, MPW. This is sitting at an almost 40% short interest. Just keep it on your radar, giving it to the YouTube fam. Tesla sold all the way down to our zone right here at 274. I would have preferred Tesla to get to 270. But ultimately, this is a beautiful bounce on Tesla. This is about a $15 bounce right now, and it could potentially go higher, and we will be calling out technicals for this one. First thing to watch is for a close above 303. Otherwise, we are not even close to being out of the woods just yet. Palantir got sub 80. It came to 78.50. We called out puts recently down to 83. That was an easy play. As of right now, I'd like to see Palantir to be bullish, close back above $84. So watch that one as well. MSTR got all the way cooked down to our zone at 226.50. And now it is getting another bounce alongside the market. Watch for this one to get rejected right around 261. Microsoft on the weekly chart. I just wanted to show how bad things are looking. Okay. a lot of these big plays that hold a lot of market cap in the entire market, right, are on thin ice. They are on their structural support. We are seeing everything test structural support, and I'd say that this Friday is the big test per se. This is the big test, right? Are bulls going to come in, and are they going to buy the first dip on the market and, regain control, or can they regain control, right? Or are institutions gonna come back in next week or the week after and take your money once again? Also, Tempest came all the way down into this beautiful zone, sub 55. I thought 55 was the first buying opportunity, and then anything below that was a good buying opportunity. Came all the way down to $50 even. I also want to state that a lot of squeeze plays alongside AMC are bleeding off as well, so don't just look at these and say it's game over. A lot of short squeeze plays love to do the nosedive before squeezing higher, so just be ready. If you want to be prepared, if you want to take good trades and make some money, make sure to get in my Discord server. It's the top link in the description of the video right here. Join the Discord. Plenty of amazing people are flooding in there, and we are building an amazing trading family in there. So if you're not in, get in right now. It's well worth it. We also have a ton of trade alerts in there. You can see my trades as soon as I take them. I talk with the group in there, so it's very, very fun time. The second link in the description is for Moomoo, where you can get up to 30 free stocks, each valued up to $2,000 per stock, as well as earn 8.1% APY on your uninvested cash. All you have to do is sign up through my link, open an account, and deposit once they approve you. It should take you 2 minutes. So go do that. No point in sleeping on free money. Plus, those free stocks might even pay for Discord. Lastly, guys, come follow me over on X if you're not following me yet. I know probably 10,000 of you guys are going to watch this video, and we only have 2,000 over here. So make sure to come follow me over on X. I'm sure we could hit 3K pretty easily. That is it, guys. I love you all. God bless. Lottery stocks out.